All right, we are out of E3 2019, so it's time to nominate the best and worst moments of E3 2019. It was a super weird show, to be sure. There's a lot of great games coming in 2019 and 2020, but the thing about E3 that I look forward to is being wowed. There has to be moments during these press conferences where I feel just, I want to have shivers down my spine. I want to be encouraged by these games. And there was some really cool moments, but there was a lot of bad ones too, and just a lot of mediocre. It was just a weird show, and that's not just because Sony was not there. And then as for predictions, yeah, I didn't get anything right. I had the E3 dreams in my head, but let's just get to the best and worst moments of E3 2019. First of all, let's talk Phantasy Star Online 2, which came out in Japan in 2012. It has been updating for 7 years, and it kind of looks like a 2012 game, so it's kind of weird for it to come out so long after the initial release, but hey, I am hyped regardless. Because I love the original GameCube game, and I've just been, yearning to play this. One thing I am not yearning to play is Project Scarlet or Halo Infinite. They basically talked about the same things they sort of did last year for Scarlet. They gave a holiday 2020 release, so at least we know a time. And the big thing along with that was Halo Infinite. Oh, it's going to be a launch game. Okay, well, you need to show Halo Infinite that we want to play it. All it was 6-7 minutes of a story beat, kind of like the last teaser. I mean, the last teaser we had from E3 2018 was better because it was a teaser. It built hype for Halo Infinite. And then we thought, hey, this year we would see it, even if it didn't come out, we would at least see it. And we didn't see it. We just saw, Master Chief wake up and said, let's fight. And I guess that just wasn't enough for me. I wanted to see gameplay, even if it was just for a snippet. I needed to see something. Next, we have the big reveal of Trials of Mana during the Nintendo Switch Direct, which I thought was a brand new Mana game, but then a lot of the characters sort of looked familiar, and that sense was correct, because it's actually a remake of Seiken Densetsu 3, which never came out in North America, and that released for the Super Nintendo in '95. There's been an excellent fan translation of it, so it's not out of the reach of players, but to see it, actually have a name for the West, Trials of Mana, it's kind of cool. And on top of that, they also announced that the collection of Mana was released that day, and that's kind of cool. Maybe not for $40, especially that I'm more hyped for the remake, so it's kind of weird that they're translating the new and the old version. I don't know why they did that, but hey, cool on them. Another bad Xbox moment was the From Software and George R.R. Martin collaboration, The Elden Ring. Now, I do like From Software. I'm a huge Bloodborne fan. I do like the other Souls games, but, not super hyped on them. Bloodborne was definitely far and above their best experience. And because this was just another CG trailer, I don't really care to see George R.R. Martin's name in anything. His name means nothing to me. I like the TV show for Game of Thrones, but that's it. I think that guy has some problems, especially when it comes to finishing stuff. To see him go and work on a Japanese game, whatever this means, is kind of weird. Until I actually see, something, I just really could not care any less for the Elden Ring. Speaking of a game that I couldn't care less about the first time around and the second time around, Watch Dogs Legion. I hated the first game. I thought the second game was an improvement, but still not for me. But Legion blew me out of the water. When they snapped to the old woman and showing that you could play as anybody in the game, that is crazy. The permadeath, how is that going to work? How is everybody going to be playable in this game? How many voices are going to be in the game? How many archetypes? How many story beats? This sounds way too ambitious for the Xbox One and PS4. I don't know how it's going to be done. I think it's a really cool gimmick. If they land it, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more hyped to get out of America. The Chicago setting and the San Francisco setting of the first two games did not appeal to me. I saw those games, those cities a lot, or cities like them a lot. But London, we haven't really gone to London that much. So yeah, good on you for actually making me hype about Watch Dogs for once, Ubisoft. Alright, another worst moment, Microsoft acquiring Double Fine. I'm really sorry for dogging on Xbox so much, but the thing about it is, I'm really hyped for Psychonauts 2. I've been waiting a long time for that game. The original Psychonauts was actually an Xbox exclusive for like a couple months before it came to the PS2. Anyway, Double Fine is such a cool indie developer, in quotes. They're I would call them a AAA indie developer, if that makes sense. They make so many weird games. I love that they've been on their own for so long. And Microsoft buying them just makes me worried that they might get shut down at some point, because we have seen a lot of studios shut down under Microsoft's umbrella for the Xbox One generation. It's just, and they're not huge, big selling games that Double Fine makes. Maybe Game Pass will, smooth that stuff over, but I don't know. But hey, I will give more props to Xbox because the Cyberpunk 2077 stuff was really cool. And of course, I'm mostly talking about Keanu Reeves. That was just a mind-blowing moment to see him in the game and then for him to come out on stage. He was just so... He was Keanu Reeves. He was just... I loved him. It's just his essence just oozed cool, and I don't know if he knew what he was doing there, but I didn't care. He was just off the cuff. I loved it. Alright, can we talk about Marvel's Avengers next for a worst moment? Because, yeah. So, that game was teased in 2017. This is the very first time that we've seen any actual gameplay. And the premise is cool, I guess. I mean, it sounds like Civil War mixed with Endgame, but whatever. The thing I'm just uneasy about is they had this huge 20-minute presentation and they talked about a lot of things that really didn't matter. Great, the cast, cool, they're good voice actors, but did we really need to see them right now? That seems like something closer to launch. That is not something you need to show off now, unless they were on stage or something, but they weren't. It was just a weird, awkward segment for that press thing. They talked about exclusive content for PS4, which I'm never a fan for exclusive stuff like that. I thought we've gotten away from that, but I guess not. They talked about it being, solo and multiplayer, but they didn't really get into that. A lot of Destiny vibes has been kind of floating around the internet. There might be two separate modes, maybe a story mode and a other story mode. There's other characters coming along the way after launch. Everything's gonna be free for updates, but there are microtransactions. The whole messaging was just really weird. And on top of that, I didn't think the game actually looked good, visually. All the characters except for Hulk, because you can't really screw up Hulk, or I guess Iron Man because, whatever. But all the faces for the people were just, I don't know, maybe I'm just too used to all the MCU stuff, but I think everyone looks great for the Ultimate Alliance game because it's, cartoony and more along the lines of the comics. But yeah, seeing realistic models that aren't MCU people was just kind of, off. And I would have liked to actually see how the actual game is. I mean, it's an action game, we can tell, but I mean, what do you actually do? But the beginning moment of Square Enix was beyond hype, but also a little weird for me. So Final Fantasy Remake, just my favorite Final Fantasy game, first of all, 7. It was my first RPG overall, so many memories tied to it. I've been waiting for a remake for a long time after that 2005 tech demo for PS3, and then they finally had, the announcement in 2015 for a real remake, and then it kind of died, and then it just re-emerged this year with a brand new trailer, and then they teased that they're going to be at E3. That's cool, and everything they showed is great. There are some snippets. They said that this is going to be a 2-disc collection of just Midgar. That's cool, I guess, that they are going to expand so much on Midgar, but at the same time, you can't call this Final Fantasy VII Remake if it's just Midgar. You gotta call it Final Fantasy VII Midgar or something, or Part 1. If Part 1 is just Midgar, how many, are there going to be 17,000 remakes? are we going to finish this game in 2077 when Cyberpunk is supposed to be happening? It's just very worrisome. I would rather have them call it not even remake, just, you know, Final Fantasy VII reimagining. That's a dumb name, but you know what I mean. I loved everything they showed. I'm super happy it's coming out next year if they can stick to that date. But yeah, a little worried. That may sound like it's a worst moment, but trust me, I was just over the moon. Seeing Tifa and seeing the crowd hype her up was just magical. I don't need to see any more trailers. No more trailers. I am good. I can go on and on. But that was basically my most hyped moment of E3 2019. The worst moment, everything Bethesda showed. I was blown away by how bad they were. First of all, that apology for Fallout 76 was horrendous. And then they come out on stage and the language, they were so into themselves with everything. With Fallout 76, it was just like, hey, we heard you, kind of, but you know what? You guys are great and you stuck with us. And, you know, the crowd didn't react how they should have, and that game released for $60 and was broken. Yeah, a lot of Bethesda games like Fallout 4 or Skyrim, they're buggy, but they're good buggy. They're not like terrible. Fallout 76, the bugs weren't even the problem. There was just nothing to do. And now they said like, oh, well, now we're gonna have NPCs. Well, maybe you should have had that the first time. Or, you know, I thought that as a prediction it would come out as a free-to-play game, but no, they're just doubling down on stuff and saying, oh, well, everything else is gonna be free updates. Well, no crap. Of course it's going to be free updates because you screwed up royally. And again, the language did not... But that's not even the only thing. Talking about Elder Scrolls Blades, I played it on the phone. Does not run well on the phone. I doubt that thing is coming to Switch this year. I do not care for that thing. Commander Keen, they're bringing that back after so many years. And for it to be a mobile game, that sucked. More Rage 2 stuff didn't appeal to me. The only thing that really appealed to me was Ghostwire Tokyo, but they didn't really show anything, so I guess it wasn't really that cool. Most of that conference was just, they had nothing to show, or things were coming out so soon. It was just weird. They did not need to be there. I would argue that Square Enix also did not to be there, except for a remake and Marvel's Avengers bookending those two things. But at least with Square Enix, they had, I don't know. Those two might be tied, but at least there was something to cling on to with Square Enix. But yeah, Bethesda, guys, that's it. You're done. No more E3s. You're done. Get out of here. I don't want to see your face at E3 again unless you just have some games. We do not need a press conference from you, or you need to take every other year to have a thing because clearly you had nothing to show. But I'm just babbling now. Anyway, there's so much to talk about, but that was me. You know, you might disagree, maybe not, but I look forward to E3 2020, but it's a long ways away from now. If you like this video and want to see more from me, then subscribe to my channel, and also check out my articles over at The Gamer. All these links and more are in the description notes below. Thanks for watching!